Well guys, here's an update on the tunnel. This is a video I wanted to do during the year when I actually set all this up, but I just never managed to get around to it, so here we are anyway. You'll have to excuse the mass of foliage here. It's like a jungle at the moment. So what I've done is I've planted most of my fig trees into the ground, and I have them in 3 rows. So this row here, this row in the middle, and then this row over the right hand side. This row here, basically I have small raised beds. They're about 2 to 3 foot wide and long, and I have them spaced about 4 to 5 feet apart. So I have one tree in each one of those. Very close spacing, but they can obviously be pruned back. Same over the right hand side. Then the middle row we have these bigger raised beds here. They're probably about 8 feet long, or and about 2 or 3 feet wide, and I've just done some close space planting in between them. This is inspired by Ross Raddy. So they're probably about a couple of feet apart, very close. Now this is all experimental for the most part. These are trees that I haven't really had too much growth off. I certainly haven't tasted most of them, although I did get to try some of them this year. And I can always prune them back really hard if I need to. So the ones on this side, this is my Desert King. This has been on my list since I first got into figs about 4 or 5 years ago, and I did manage to source one from the UK initially, but it died on me. I think leather jackets ate away the roots when I planted it in the ground. Anyway, I got this one off another YouTuber called Chris, who has a YouTube channel called Go Tropical UK, and this is his Desert King. And I've had this probably about 3 years now, and it's still pretty small. It rooted really well, grew okay in the first year, and then the last 2 years just didn't do anything at all until I put it in the ground, and now it's taken off. So hopefully next year I'll get to try some figs off that one. This is my B&Q Unknown, which had a spectacular year last year, and I did loads of videos on it, but for some reason this year it decided not to do anything. So for most of the year it probably looked like this little stem here, and there was no figs on it, very little growth, as you can see here. I'm looking very sickly, and then at the end of August it decided to take off, which is obviously too late. We have some suckers coming up there that I'm going to allow, because I'm not too sure of the health of this, or the vigor of this tree as it stands. Negroni, there's another really good vigorous variety. However, it got hit hard by the frost this year, and it really didn't grow back too well. You can see just the very short stunted growth on this stem here, and it didn't really do anything. So same thing, I'll let all the suckers come up from the base. You've got some really healthy suckers here, so I might actually just prune this main stem back and use these then as their main figs from that, or the main stems from that tree. Next one then we have Improved Celeste. Still hasn't done very well for me in the last couple of years. The figs I've got off this are really tiny. Improved Celeste generally has bigger figs, about that big, and I don't know what's going on with this, but anyway, it's in the ground, so hopefully next year. Another Ronde Bordeaux, this is taken from my back garden. Violet de Bordeaux, I forget the name of this one. We have some figs in pots that I might sell next year, and some mulberries. So the middle, actually there's another Desert King at the end. I just had some spare, and like the other one at the end, it was doing okay in a pot, not particularly well. I think I had maybe this much growth on it in the pot. Once it was in the ground it took off, so it's looking pretty well. Brunswick, which I took from outside, I had it in the ground outside, didn't do too well. Apparently this isn't a great tasting variety, but I have it here anyway. I haven't tried the main crop off it, so hopefully next year I'll get to try that. This tree here is just super vigorous. It's called Morena, and it's sold by a company called Lubert. Actually no, I think I got it from a Scottish company actually. I don't know too much about this. It did drop all of its figs this year, which is not a good sign. I will definitely be cutting this back because it's just too big. This one here is Giant Brown Turkey. It's not brown turkey. It was sold to me as a brown turkey. It's actually a very productive tree. It's putting out figs here that won't ripen. Puts out a big breba crop, and a good main crop, but it takes a long time to ripen. So I did get a few off it this year. They were okay. Breba crops are not that great. I think I'll probably get rid of this one. This one here is called the Lampier Pride. I think this is a Portuguese variety, and I think it's a San Pedro, so you'll only get Breba crops off this, which is the same as the Desert King. but apparently it's supposed to have a very, very good brave producer and very good quality brave. So again, hopefully next year. It's very vigorous, put out a lot of growth. I might have to cut that back as well. And here we are, it's dropping figs already for me. Next then is Peter's Honey. It's a white fig. I think it hails from Italy. This had a very poor start to the year. I didn't think it was going to make it. It didn't really do much. A lot of the stems look like this. I put it in the ground, didn't do anything for a while, and then maybe last month, or maybe, sorry, 2 months ago, it started to take off and has really taken off. Same with that one here, Strawberry Verte. This is an Adriatic type. It's supposed to produce really, really high quality figs, but it's a very late ripener, so I'll have to see with that one. Two-timer, Brown Turkey. These are two new varieties as well. I'm really looking forward to Campanieri. Ross Raddy does a lot and has done a good few videos on this. Gris de Saint Jean. I got these off a French grower called, I forget his name. If I remember, I'll say it. Thierry, that's his name actually. This is Smith in the ground. This really didn't do much for me in the last 2 years. Very, very poor growth. It's on its own rootstock, but it's taken off now, which is a good sign. Another Lampier Prada, Violet de Bordeaux. Rest are ones I've probably done videos on, except for this one here, which is called Marinese. It's a San Pedro again. I'm supposed to put out really good high quality bribes. It's put out a lot of figs here, and it's put out a lot of growth. I got this off Vinny Figs in the UK, and it's supposed to be pretty good, so hopefully next year we'll get to try some bribes. LSU Champagne, Ross Raddy's done some videos on this, haven't got to try them yet. Black Madeira. I have to say my Black Madeira is actually very, very vigorous variety. This is only a pot that I rooted last year, and it's just taken off. Those figs are not going to ripen, and I think I will actually bring it home and stick it in a tent with a light to get them to ripen. Mitrinska 10, which I've done lots of videos on. Loads of unknowns here. Ronde Bordeaux, which has just been the star of the year. All of this died back in May with the late frosts, but it came back, and it came back with a bang, and it put out loads and loads of figs, and they're still ripening, which is fantastic. Now the quality of them at this stage is not great, and as you can see here, I'm still picking them, but they're still pretty good, better than anything you'll get in a shop, that's for sure. I will have to chop this back, it's just too crazy. And what I have to do is train this next year and basically prune out all of these thin spindly stems that I don't need. I'm also going to try a Japanese Aspire form with this branch here, and it's going to grow down there just as an experiment to see. Verdun, I think I did a video on this one last year. Exceptionally good figs, pretty late in the season, but they are really, really, really good. Green figs, dark red interior, very jammy, very, very sweet. Unfortunately this year, I don't know what's going on with it. You had growth like this, just not doing anything, looking dead. It decided to grow a bit in August, September, but sure, it's too late in the season. I'm hoping next year we'll have a better year. Smith, this is a graft of Smith. Again, hasn't had a great year. I don't know why some of them just decide not to grow for me, and others do. Seems to be taking off now. We've got some new growth there, so hopefully it'll establish itself. Hardy Chicago, it's kind of hard to see with all the plants around it. This is probably about 4 or 5 years old. You wouldn't think it because it's so small, and look at that growth. For some reason, I have no idea, it just refuses to grow for me. I did put it in the ground this year, and it just didn't do anything. Put out figs, dropped them, no new growth. We have this here, but sure, it's not looking good. So what I might do is actually chop this up and graft them onto other more vigorous varieties in the hope of keeping this alive, because it's quite an early ripener. I have tried figs off this and they ripen in early September, which is pretty good for our climate, and they ripen up pretty well. It's just unfortunate that this specimen just doesn't have as much vigor as others. Rouge de Bordeaux I got from a garden centre. Nana Maria, which I've done a video on. Malta Black, this is another early ripener. Unfortunately the mother tree died on me and I managed to get a cutting off it before it died, and this one took off, so I still have it there, and I probably will propagate this as well just to keep it alive, to be on the safe side. And lastly we have our Smith that I got to try this year. Again, poor growth. I don't know why it's, you know, so reluctant to grow. We have some new shoots here, but yeah, there you go. That's the good and the bad. You can see at the end of the tunnel here at this stage in the year, we're only getting light down here, so all of this part here is shaded. And realistically what I should have done is put all my Braber producing varieties down here, because they get the sun later in the season, and then the sun kind of starts to make its way down this way towards the end of September, October, which by that stage these Sanpreders don't need that sunlight because all the figs would have ripened. So any main crop farmers like this Smith should have been planted down there, but sure, you live and you learn. But anyway, that's the fig tunnel for the time being. I suspect next year it's going to look something like these shoots here, and we're just going to have walls of fig varieties growing from the ground, because they are exceptionally vigorous when you put them in the ground. I do plan on planting more. I have some room here and some more room here, and again they're going to be going for San Pedro varieties. But that's how she's looking for the time being. Take it easy, guys.